Hi, I'm Saúl Lopéz. I am the writer of Atardecer Milwaquiano, a love letter to Milwaukee that is being hosted by this film festival.
I'm Alex. I'm the director and editor of the film.
So, whose idea was project first? You're the director, but you're the writer. Who came up with the idea and who motivated to push it forward?
So I've always been interested in film, and I really wanted to make something. And Saul and I went to school together and reconnected again in grad school. And I approached Saul because I knew he was a poet, and I had read some of his poetry, and I thought it'd be a perfect opportunity to collaborate with a classmate and a friend and a peer. So I kind of approached Saul a little bit out of the blue, and I just asked him if he would be interested in, using one of his poems to make a film with me.
You're also a poet too, I read in your bio.
Yeah, I like to write as well. I guess I haven't really had the confidence to fully declare that I'm a poet, but yes.
Is that how you two kind of connected in the first place, through poetry?
Yeah, you could say that. We actually met in English class. So we had Irish literature together, and we definitely read a lot of poetry, a lot of good short stories. So that's how we connected, and that's how we became friends actually, through literature. So in a way, yeah, it's been a link between us.
So Alex liked one of your poems and wanted to turn it into a film. Did you have to alter that poem at all for the film because the visuals necessarily, might not match up sometimes?
Yeah, I remember Alex's text. I had just finished the art show, going to an art show, and I got her text, "You want to make a movie?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I'm down." So we sat at a local anodyne here, and we just drafted ideas, and we kind of landed on the poem because we were talking about Milwaukee and kind of what it meant to us and stuff like that. So I love to write about the city. So I pulled out my notebook and I started kind of sifting through some of my work. And there was this one poem about the winter, and it was around the winter time when we were kind of doing this. And I read out loud, and after reading it, we kind of decided that that was the one. And then I went back. I did some edits to kind of look at it again and kind of go for the theme of loneliness and solitude and winter. So yes, it was a written poem that I tweaked a little bit for the film. Yeah.
Person who does poetry and is a writer, how do you like seeing your words put to film?
Yeah, it was definitely so. Poetry has always been a big passion of mine, and I think that right now visual poetry has been really taking off, and I'm a big fan of poetry in the spoken form, right? So I think that the video medium really works really well, where you can hear the poem and then you accompany the visual. So a lot of my work has that kind of juxtaposition. I like to write responses to pictures, photographs, other people's work, other people's art. I feel that art in itself is a good medium of conversation. So in this way, the video was a good complement to the poem and the poem to the video. So it just worked really well. Yeah.
Alex, you always wanted to be a filmmaker. Is this your first film?
This is my first film that I have ever submitted to a festival. I've just done experimental films on my own for my family and friends, but never submitted to a festival. So yeah, first film.
How does it feel having your first film in a film festival, especially film about Milwaukee itself in a Milwaukee Film Festival?
Yeah, it was so exciting for Saul and I. We decided on a whim to submit it to the Marquette Film Festival and ended up winning the film festival. And then Chris Holodeck, who is part of this festival, encouraged us to submit to local festivals. And so we did that, and we're accepted to MKE Short Fest. So yeah, we're so excited that it's a part of a local festival and our first one.
Do you have any plans of working together on another film?
I feel like we should. I feel like
Yeah.
We have good collaboration together and just get along really well and love working together and have similar styles and interests. So yeah, I think our collaboration will continue throughout our careers, hopefully.
Do you think you'd still have it more of a poetry visual combination, or would you like to stretch in the narrative?
That's a good question. I can see both.
Mm.
I can see both. Definitely interested in doing more work with Alex. Like she was saying, I think we work well as a team. Um, I wouldn't be opposed to narrative. I think that that'd be a good next step to kind of see how that goes. Um, but also with the poetry, I think that there's also a niche there
Mhm.
with the visual aspect of it. So why not both?
And I've also been really interested in documentary film. And I know Saul and I, when we were in the brainstorming process, like talked about that as an element of the film potentially. But so yeah, I'd love to explore that with Saul as well, since he's from Milwaukee and born and raised here. And so I feel like there's a lot of great opportunities to expand on some of what we've already been doing.
What I noticed when I first saw your film is that it felt like it was shot by someone who lived in the areas where it was shot. Do you guys live in those areas?
That I feel like that's a huge compliment because Saul.
Yeah, so Alex lived here when she was at Marquette as an undergrad. She lives here now. And I've lived here my whole life. I was born in Milwaukee, raised in Milwaukee. So when we were talking about the film, I wanted to show us out of Milwaukee that was personal to me, or that probably a lot of people that have gone to Marquette or that have one perspective of the city haven't seen, right? So we drove around places that were really important to my own childhood, important to my own upbringing here in the city, and just images that really have marked my own life. So that's why you can probably see that in the film, because a lot of the places either it just had a really big impact on me as a child or just growing up in the city. So again, it's just a big love letter to Milwaukee.
As we were talking, we kind of, when Milwaukee's publicized and in the media and in the news, we only see a certain section of maybe downtown Milwaukee. So we really wanted to explore the parts of the city that don't often get highlighted.
What was your idea to give it sort of an animated look?
When Saul and I were in sort of talking about the film, we thought initially it was going to be in black and white because it sort of fit with the darker themes of loneliness and winter. But when I was editing it, I had a gut feeling it felt like something was missing, and ended up choosing sort of a more animated, colorful filter, just because it highlighted for me more of the city and sort of like livened up the words a little bit more as Saul's voice spoke.
Yeah, the color blue really struck me in that film. Yeah, I really enjoyed your film. What's next for you?
That's a good question. I think for both of us right now, school, we're finishing up graduate school, and then in the short term, and then in the long term, I don't know. Just see wherever poetry and life kind of takes me and Alex, and we'll see. I don't know. That's a good question.
Yeah, we're both finishing up school and are educators and have been teaching and writing and love to do creative projects, and so hoping just to continue on that path and see what happens.
Great, wait. Well, thank you for being here today.
Well, thank you.
Yeah, thanks so much for interviewing and talking to us and for accepting our film. So exciting.
Oh, I liked it a lot, and I like doing these Q&As because people get to learn more about the film and the filmmakers.
Yeah,
Yeah,
we appreciate it.
really appreciate it.
Oh, no problem.